Hi, my friends. Welcome to Inside the Minds of Authors. I'm DC Gomez, your host, and also an indie author. I'm thrilled you're joining me today for another fun interview with a passionate author. We're going to kick off this show with an exciting reading, so let's get started.
I'm Rob Fisher, and I am a debut author with a book called Yes, There Are Stupid Questions: How to Believe in Yourself and Attack Your Dreams. It is the opener of a short read trilogy called Off the Chest. And Off the Chest is both the title of my trilogy and my style. So I consider Off the Chest to be truth, brevity, and writing that punches. Yes, There Are Stupid Questions is the opener. And that's going to be followed by a book called I Need a Muse, A Guide to Life. And then the threequel will be Backdoor Man, How to Achieve Success While Being Yourself. What I do is I answer 10 subconscious questions that I think people ask themselves when they're pursuing their goals in life. I talk about topics such as religion, love, money, and happiness. I like to say that I basically mix practical motivation with depth. So, like I said, title of the book is Yes, There Are Stupid Questions: How to Believe in Yourself and Attack Your Dreams. I'll tell you the chapters. So the chapters are: chapter 1 is Can I Rebound? Chapter 2 is Can God Help? Chapter 3 is Do I Need to Increase My Work Ethic? Chapter 4 is How Do I Make It Through the Grind? Chapter 5 is Can I Be Happy While Grinding? Chapter 6, Can I Find Love While Pursuing a Dream? Chapter 7, Should I Prioritize Money? Chapter 8, What is Success? Chapter 9, Am I Talented? And Chapter 10, which is what I'm going to read, is What's It All About? Chapter 10, What's It All About? Believing in yourself and attacking your dream is about one thing, and that's happiness. You can have what you want. When you fail, don't quit. Look up, forward, and never behind. When you fail again, maybe not, but keep going. Remember that true happiness doesn't come from throwing in the towel. The road is never clear, but your objective stays the same. You might try new things and go to new places, but keep your eye on the ball and your dream in focus. If you're sincere, you'll succeed. Be the person who thinks taking a dare, and truth or dare, is a cop-out. The toughest thing for a lot of people with a dream is that, in some form, you're anti-establishment. Popularity doesn't echo with you, but merit does. You don't buy into suck-ups and know if you join them, you become one. Though you're an outcast in the beginning, it's precisely why you'll succeed. Remember that living your dream inspires others to do the same. Whatever your ceiling is, know it's a lie. Your life and potential are never limited, and your ceiling is an illusion. You control what you want, how far you go, and how deep your fear runs. Happiness and your dream will always be around the corner and are never out of reach. You can take your time or go fast. There are no rules. Be confident in everything you do and live with conviction. Care what nobody thinks. Confidence is medicine and also your shining light. If happiness is the finish line, start here. Accept that adversity makes you. Some paths are longer than others, but if you're honest and producing the best work, happiness will come. Learn to see the poetry in the struggle and romance in the hardship. It's important for when you finally succeed. You look back at where you were and forward to where you're going. When everyone around you is crumbling, be the one who endures. The more you fight and break down walls, the stronger you are and the closer your dream gets. Fragility might define you in the beginning, but durability represents you in the end. If I leave you with one thing, it's this: the world might not see your ability, but I do. I'm the odd gift of being the talent you spot, but the one who spots talent. I see you, but I want you to see yourself. The greatest problem you'll face isn't that you aren't big time, but rather that people don't care you're small. What I care about is the unknown talent nobody sees. I want the world to care and for you to be big. I think everyone can be brilliant. Just because you aren't Einstein, it doesn't mean you're not you. With that said, remember that if you look for the lie in someone's dream, you'll find it in a second, but look for the truth and you'll spend all day. It's easy to spot someone who isn't serious, but you can be the opposite. If you're willing to work, you can achieve anything. Your talent is there, but how much you want something makes it true. If you want it, work for it. Always know that your life doesn't hang in the balance if your dream is at the center. Keep it in front of you, stay strong, and never stop. Good luck.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Minds of Authors. We have the amazing Rob Fisher. Hi, Mr. Rob. How are you today?
I'm very well.
We are so happy to have you, and we're just going to jump right into this. You have a nonfiction get yourself better, dream big. You are totally speaking my language because at the end of the day, I'm all about people living their best life now. Tell me, how did you come up with this trilogy?
Brevity is really kind of what I think describes my style. And like I said, the trilogy is called Off the Chest. So it's truth, brevity, and writing that punches. When I was thinking about really what I wanted to release, I think novels and books of that length, I think they're just, to me, they're a dime a dozen. And I think as much as I believe in brevity, it was like I wanted that to come across and I wanted to put that into a trilogy. When I had the novel, for the most part, complete, I just decided to really break it up and to put it into three separate books that I thought it would just be easier to consume them and kind of digest what I wanted to say. And I think it makes my writing, more punchy. And I think it kind of hits you harder when they're shorter. And the idea of my trilogy is something that you can finish, which I think is important. With my book and the way I write, I think there's things that you can connect with, but then there's maybe other things that you won't side with. So you can finish the book quick, you can put it down, you can come back to it. I see my writing as like meant for subway rides and toilet seats. I'm proud to have it sit in that light. To kind of wrap up your question, it's like, when I had my novel, I didn't want to put something out that was like everyone else had that's been out there. I think when people think of writing, they think I need to write a novel. I don't think like that at all. Everything that I want to put out, it's got to be unique and be what I'm about, what I stand for. So it's the trilogy is called Off the Chest and it's truth, brevity, and writing that punches. And that's in a nutshell, that's pretty much what I stand for. So that's how I came up with the idea of where I wanted to go in terms of the direction. And it was really that simple. It started out as a novel and then I chopped it down to three consumable books.
Your focus for this book seems very nonfiction because you're talking specifically to a growth community. When you were coming up with your concepts and your chapters, did you had somebody in mind? Did you had a target audience you were reaching for?
Not at all, because the way that I write, the most important thing to me in writing, and I think a lot of people forget this, is voice. If you have nothing to say, then I have nothing to listen to, kind of thing. So I think for me to keep that genuine, I think the biggest mistake you can make as a writer is looking for your audience. For the most part, I write for myself. That's why the trilogy is called Off the Chest. So I write to get things off my chest. And I think by me doing that, it makes everything that I'm saying authentic and it makes you be able to relate to it and want to read it. When I was thinking about if I wanted to go after an audience or anybody that I was thinking of in particular, I take inspiration from my life and what I know, and I try to turn it and make it unique. So there wasn't anybody that I was thinking of. Maybe when it comes to the stories that I get into in there, for sure, everything that I discuss is true. All the stories that I write, I take from my life. In that aspect, yeah, but not in terms of the whole book and the trilogy. There wasn't anybody that I was going after in terms of an audience. I just think if you're looking for truth, brevity, and writing that's going to hit you, that's kind of in a nutshell what I would consider my audience to be. But I'm not writing for that audience. So I wasn't looking to hit home with any particular group or anything like that.
So you're not targeting writers, you're not targeting entrepreneurs, is anybody that has a dream. Because this is very focused on where do you want to take your life, which is something that, especially in today's day, everybody's trying to find some focus. So that is kind of interesting that you didn't have a group per se in mind, but it's very open. So who will benefit? How young could they have to be? That would be the question. Because you're talking about truth. How young do you have to be
Yeah.
to handle the truth? Because it has to be like
Uh,
sometimes too young is too young.
yeah, I think in terms of an age group, because I was actually thinking about this recently. It's like when I was looking through, because I was just flipping back to the book and I'm like, all right, I talk a lot about like God is one chapter. And I can see like a certain non-religious group kind of siding with that. But then as the book goes on, it's like there might be things that you don't necessarily, it's not like you don't align with them, but maybe it's like you find one chapter more in your lane and then something else. It's kind of, it's almost like a seesaw, kind of you go back and forth. And then towards the end of the book, I think it strikes a nice balance where it kind of balances it out and you get the central message of what I'm saying. But in terms of age or anything like that, I think anyone can pick it up because I talk about a dream in the sense of really any kind of dream. It could be, an artistic dream. It can be some financial direction, entrepreneurial, that sense. There's no age limit. I mean, obviously, if you're, a child or something, you're 10 years old, you might not, you might not, choose to read the book. But I don't know if I would introduce it to someone that young. But I don't like classifying the book as like a book for entrepreneurs. It's just a book for everyone. I think I say it's unique in the self help genre because I think that when you read the title and you read the subtitle, you think it's like rah self help. It's really not that at all. I consider it to be highly stimulating and something that makes you take a step back. And it's very at your neck and very punchy and it really hits you. I talk about topics that I think truly help you grow. I think a lot of self-help is saturated in like making your bed, and I say that a lot of self-help writers write you a cookbook and I write you perspective.
What inspired you? Because this is very personal. You've taken us on a journey. You're looking at your life stories. You mentioned you got inspiration. What made you decide to do this?
Like I said, it used to be a novel. I've always known that I'm a writer. That's
Okay.
always been like a side of me. I say the style of my writing and the name of the trilogy is off the chest. So it's really just my inspiration comes from me just getting things off my chest. And I think it fits into the self-help genre. The inspiration is just from my life. It's just me wanting to say things. I think it's really important that I believe in literature, I believe in books, and I think that if you have good ideas, you can project them uniquely and you can put them into words. I really believe in writing books and putting that out to the world and having that circulate. The inspiration is just off the chest. It's just things that I want to say and things that I've always wanted to say. I've had notes, whether that's in a phone or emails, I've had just notes for years. I post Instagram quotes every day, and half the things I pull on are like very old ideas. When I say old ideas, it's ideas that I've had for like a year, or even more than, 2 or 3 years. The inspiration is just been a long coming inspiration and just off the chest writing and me wanting to get what I think about things out into the world. My whole central mantra is trying to change the world, but changing the world through being yourself and saying the things that you want to say. When we were talking about our audience before, it's like whoever connects with that, I think that's a positive thing. And that's really the source of my inspiration is kind of just getting my ideas out into the world and seeing who connects with it.
I like your focus and I like the fact that you have a mission and you have a path and your ideas are targeted towards this path. It's beautiful. So, how long have you been writing?
In terms of the book, I started this as a novel maybe back in 2000. I was asked this question recently. I think I started it maybe 2015. I wrote like so much of it and it was like a novel length. And then I kind of stepped away from it for like a 2 year period and then came back to it, chopped it down. But I've been writing in terms of just this book and the ideas for this book, I think, a while, definitely since college, I would say. And then when I was out of college is kind of where I, picked that up and, started this book in 2015 or 16 and then circled back to it.
What are some of the things you have learned in your journey? So, as a debut author, you have a different perspective in the writing world than most people that have been writing for a while. What have you noticed? What have you learned from it?
Good question. I think if I was to say one thing, it's I really believe in voice. I truly believe in not looking for your audience. I think that's truly like the biggest mistake you can make is looking for your audience. I think people worry too much about technicalities. Like if you're like a young writer, I think you come into writing a book and you're like, in order for it to be accepted by the public or to be accepted by a traditional publisher or whatever, it's got to hit a certain page length or a certain word length or something like that. It's not necessarily that I learned that it's not about that, but it's just something that I've always believed that I think that's just one of the biggest mistakes you can make is thinking like that. I think write your style. Put it out there and don't care what anyone has to say about it. Think that it will be received eventually and people will take positive things from it. So definitely looking for your audience is something that I learned or just believe in general. Don't go looking for your audience. Don't worry about the technicalities, page length, word length. Write how you write and then let it be appreciated in the time frame that it is. As a writer, you have to put out what you believe in. You can't cater to anyone. You can't structure your book so that it's accepted by certain people. I think those are some of the biggest mistakes you can make.
One of the things that I realized is once you know the rules, then you can break them. I think that's usually the part most people don't understand. Understand the standard and then make a conscious decision to break the standard. If not,
Okay.
then you're finding yourself your conflict all the time. So as long as you understand why they're there and decide, okay, makes sense, not gonna use it, then you can make those conscious decisions. Because for brand new authors, they get lost in why I'm supposed to do this instead of just saying, I know it's there, but I'm still going to follow my path. So I like that.
And piggybacking on that, I completely agree. I think biggest thing is being unique as a writer. I believe in good writing for sure. You want to shoot for that. Being unique is important so long as it's good writing. I agree with you completely on that. I think the central idea is put out who you are. That's what writing is about. It's putting out who you are, whether you're writing fiction, nonfiction, writing romance, or whatever. I think put out who you are. And I truly believe in catering to nobody. Let people come on board with you and see who is receptive to it. And in time, you'll kind of find your rhythm on that.
One of the beautiful things nowadays is with our society and our journey is more than just the words. Now we're in a world that people connect with the author. So you can have a tribe that connects with you as long as you're authentic. That's kind of what people want. People can read between the lines if you're faking it. So authentic and being true to yourself, which I love. Tell me, what is your definition of success? What would you define? You say, okay, I'm a successful writer because of A, B, and C. What would that be?
So part of being an indie writer, I truly do believe in self-publishing. And so it's hard to define success in any other way than book sales for most people. I mean, I talk about this in my book, what is success? Ultimately, obviously it's happiness. In my book, I talk about ways to achieve happiness. I think that does relate to being a writer. And I think if you're proud of your work, and I think if you're happy with getting your work out there, to me, I think that's success. Writing a book, no matter the size of the book, big or small, I think it's tough and really lengthy process to do. Just me chopping this down into a trilogy and getting a direction on it was a creative process in and of itself, me picking that direction. So I think just the success of you getting your book out there and seeing it on Amazon or wherever you get it, if you get it in brick and mortar stores or whatever, I just think having your name on something is successful in and of itself, especially if it's a piece of writing. If you keep your goals grounded and you're not going after, the money side of it or whatever, I think you'll achieve happiness quicker as a writer if you're proud of what you put out. To me, that's the central idea is just being proud of your work.
I love it. Do you have any authors that have motivated you?
And I was thinking about this question actually recently. It's not necessarily authors that inspire me. I truly don't look at authors and think I want to be like that author. There are things that I take. The authors for me are writers with a voice. Anybody like that, I tend to gravitate towards. If there was one idea that I take from authors, it's having a voice for sure. Like I said, I think the most important thing in writing is voice and being unique. And we're all inspired by other people for sure. But for me, it's like I definitely don't try to imitate anyone. I take inspiration from certain authors with a voice that I think that I gravitate towards.
What are you currently working on?
So right now I'm working on the sequel to Yes Our Stupid Questions. So I'm working on I Need a Muse, which is a guide to life. So in that book, I'm addressing some central themes that I think really help you kind of get through life. Stupid Questions was more about a dream and how to pursue your goals and also kind of like a guide to life as well. But this book kind of piggybacks on some issues and some topics and Stupid Questions, but then addresses some new questions and new ideas. And I Need a Muse is really kind of sarcastic for not needing one. The overarching theme is about self belief, talk about life being weighty and things that weigh you down and how to remove certain things and add things that can help push you forward.
How are you connecting to readers? How do they find you?
Yeah, so right now I'm using Instagram. So I try to post daily on that, post pretty consistently 5 days a week. I'll take the weekends off for the most part. What I try to post is try to keep it genuine and quality and polished and try to post Monday through Friday on that. So definitely Instagram at rfisher451. And that's where I'm trying to grow my audience there primarily. For me, Instagram is really it's a unique platform, but I don't chase followers on that. Like I don't go around following people to try to be followed back. I think that just goes against for the most part everything that I stand for. When you asked me earlier what is success, I think this kind of ties into that. I think that writing is a long game. If you're expecting quick success, I think yes that can happen. You should not think that that's possible, but Instagram ties into that gaining followers. I think getting people to stand with you as an author, I think that's all a long game.
I like the fact that you have one platform because some of the advice I've heard is you need to be everywhere. Everywhere tends to dilute you and you get very exhausted.
I agree.
When you decided to pick Instagram, why didn't you do Facebook? Why didn't you do Twitter? Why didn't you do pick one? There's millions of them. Why did you decided this platform?
To be honest, it's kind of just what I'm about. I'm just out of sheer principle not going to sit here and going on every platform. I'm unwilling to manage multiple platforms. It's set up now to where you could post to all your platforms like pretty easily just by posting to one. You can then just connect it. But I just think it makes me as an author just more kind of streamlined, which is how I am.
I like your focus. I like the fact that you're very conscious of your decisions and everything's very strategic. You're not just going with the whims of the flow. So, with that in mind, if you're thinking of a brand new author that's trying to take on this path, what is one advice that you would give them?
Yeah, like I said earlier, don't go looking for your audience. Don't worry about technicalities. Don't cater to anyone. Write what you want to write, put it out, let people come on board. The most important thing in writing is voice. I don't care if you're writing fantasy, I don't care if you're writing self help or whatever. I think that you having a voice is really important. And so, yeah, staying authentic and true to yourself, to me, that is what writing is all about. It is staying true to who you are being non-conforming and brave and original. If you can hit on those three ideas, I think you have it in the bag as a writer.
How have you handled criticism?
So I haven't had any direct criticism as of yet. I'm not saying that won't come. I'm sure that absolutely will come. I don't care at all. If you worry about your audience and you worry about critics, to me, critics aren't analysts. So it's like if it's just someone criticizing your writing, then I would just look at that as like, then they're not my audience. They can go read another book. If you start out as a writer not catering to an audience and then you get critics, you have to then continue to be brave and push through and continue to not cater to anyone. Don't let critics make you think, oh, I need to change my writing or whatever. At the end of the day, you're putting your work out. And I always say that writing is the one thing where all you have to do to be it is do it. For me, writing is like a blank canvas and it's like a bucket of things that are inside of me, words, ideas, pour it on the canvas, sort it out. So I think if anyone can get to that, if you can get that out and get it onto the canvas and you can put pen to paper, I think that makes you a writer. And then critics come along or whatever, the fact that you did that, that makes you a writer. And
It can actually drive you a little nuts if you spend too much time worrying about making everyone happy.
100%. Yeah, I totally agree with you, see, because that's the whole central idea as a writer. You have to be brave, original, non-conforming, put it out there. If people like it, if they don't, kick rocks. It doesn't matter.
We're not going to make everybody happy. 25% of the population is not going to like you, regardless whether you write or you don't write. So just keep writing.
Oh, I couldn't echo that more. Yeah, just keep writing, putting your stuff out there. Like I said, writing is the one thing where all you have to do to be it is do it.
I love that. Most people need to remember that more often. We're going to switch gears. We have had a beautiful conversation about your path and your passion, which is amazing. I love it. I love passionate writers. So we're going to go to our lightning round.
No,
Easy,
no,
fun. Don't think too much of it. Let's see what's the first thing that comes to your mind. Winter or summer?
winter. I think the sunshine lies and the cold tells the truth.
I don't know. I'm in Texas. I'm like, oh my God, I need a sweater.
Oh, no, I'll take the winter all any day.
Sweet or sour?
Let's go sour. Sour.
Okay. Let's go with cold drinks or hot drinks.
Hot drinks. I like hot coffee.
Thin crust or deep dish pizza.
Deep dish.
So now we're going to step away a little bit from the food and let's see how you go with this. If you were stuck in a deserted island and you could only bring three things, what would you bring?
Music, a lighter, and a tent. You got to think survival, and then something to get you through. So I would probably bring music, a lighter, and a tent.
I'm glad to have those very focus on how am I going to survive in a deserted island. It's like,
Yeah, you got to assume no one's coming for you. So
I like that combination. Most people think books and the writing material, you're like, oh no, I need to survive. We're going to stick to basic stuff.
got to start a fire and have shelter.
So tell us, Rob, where can our listeners find your book? Where can they once again tell us your social media so they can find you? Give us a little bit of that.
Yeah, so find me on Instagram, rfisher451, RFISHER451. My book is on Amazon. Yes, there are stupid questions. Like I said, the subtitle is How to Believe in Yourself and Attack Your Dreams. You can pretty much find that on any platform you're looking for. So Amazon, Barnes and Noble, it's at a number of places. My website is meetrobfisher.com. And so you can also get, merchandise there and kind of get more of a direction of what I'm about and kind of who I am as a writer. So yeah, that's meetrobfisher.com and then Instagram rfisher451.
I'm sure our listeners are going to want to look for you as well. Do you have any closing remarks for us?
Pleasure talking to you. It was a good conversation.
It has been so much fun. I'm so glad you came. I'm so glad we got to connect. I am excited our listeners got to meet you and learn a lot more about you. And for our listeners, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Inside the Minds of Authors. Go ahead, give this podcast a like, share it with somebody, give us a review. Come on, let's continue to build this community together. And we'll see you again next week with another exciting author. Bye, everyone.